sound like me,
Yeah.
it's not right. Basically.
There's always too posh anyway, aren't there? They're trying to make him too posh.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I didn't think about
Yeah.
that. Okay, cool. Interesting. I'm well up for that. I do want to check that out. I'm also kind of rooting for Dan, you know. I want him to get out of the Harry Potter shadow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He's doing it, and he's not given up.
No.
Like, a lot of the other guys have just given up like that now. I'm Hermione now, or I'm Ron Weasley. But he's going for it, you know. He's really trying to.
He's done some great ones as well. There's been a few that I've really enjoyed, Dan Radcliffe ones. Is it? It's the one where he goes undercover. He's this FBI agent, goes undercover as a white supremacist. Imperium in a.
Oh,
it's got some name like Impericus or Iticus or something like that.
Lol.
It's one word. Sorry, I'm absolutely no use to anybody listening. But if you Google Daniel Radcliffe white supremacist film, it comes straight up, and it's great. He's basically trying to bring them down by pretending to be a white supremacist, finding out their plot, and then trying to arrest them, basically. And that's a great film. It's really good.
Right.
Also, Woman in Black. That's a classic. The sort of vintage horror film. I thought that was really good.
Sure. I did like it, actually. I mean, have you seen the play?
Yes, I have actually. Yeah. Years ago.
I hadn't seen the play because my school went to see it, and everyone was losing their mind about how scared they were. And then the film came out, and it was okay. I did enjoy it. I just wasn't blown away by it.
Right. Yeah.
But what was the play like? Was it pretty intense?
I'm struggling to remember, to be honest.
Right.
I think
it probably wasn't.
I was early teens, mid-teens when I saw it with mum and dad, but I remember it being good. I mean, it's hard to be petrified from a play, isn't it? It's like because you're there with however many other people. You're not home alone at 2 a.m. It's like that's the only time that things scare me, to be honest. If I'm watching something, it's got to be the right time.
Yeah, fair enough. Just Imperium is the film.
That's it, Imperium. Yeah, nice
for all you white supremacist followers out there. Jesus,
or the exact opposite, because it's
I'm sure
you could be one of the two in that film.
He's got a great bomber jacket in the cover of it as well. It looks pretty sick.
Definitely, yeah. Okay. Yeah. For anyone that likes watching those documentaries where some hard guy goes into a prison or infiltrates a white supremacist gang, if you enjoy watching those sort of things and thinking like, oh God, who are these people? Look at these idiots. This is the film for you.
For sure. Have you I don't want to derail it too much, but have you seen Louis Theroux documentary where he does that exact thing, goes into like the white supremacist?
I've seen
the KKK.
Yes, yeah. I love Louis Theroux. I think he's hilarious.
I absolutely love him.
He's just so funny and nerdy, and he's just great. He's great fun. I like how he says very little, and he just lets them tie themselves, whoever it is. He just 100%. Lets them tie themselves in knots, basically, and he just teases the answer out.
100%. But I was just going to say, like, he even though he is this sort of nerdy, sort of dweeby kind of looking guy, and not to try and rag on him too much, but there was a moment in that where this family have got in their heads that he's Jewish because of it, because he's got quite a big nose, relatively big nose, and they've obviously got this stereotypical view of Jewish people, so they're like, he might be Jewish because his nose is big or whatever.
Yeah.
Is basically what they're saying. And he isn't Jewish, but he refused to say whether he was or wasn't.
I remember now, yeah.
Which I loved so much. And he explains like later on that he's not Jewish, or maybe he's got possible Jewish heritage later down, but he doesn't consider himself Jewish at all.
Yeah.
So he would have easily said, no, I'm not. And it would have just diffused it. But he was like, no, screw it, I'm not going to... It shouldn't matter, is basically what he's saying. He just wouldn't say yes or no, which I loved. But he's in a house with like 5 white KKK members, guns everywhere, bikes, everything. Oh, man.
They're sort of in a garage, aren't they? And aren't they like playing pool and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And they turn on him. They have to leave after a while, you know?
Yeah. The guy just can't drop it, can he? You can see him get like boiling under his bonnet, just like... Yeah. Interesting. I mean, all those. Basically, if you're ever interviewed by Louis Theroux, you're a nutcase. They're all
100%.
nutters, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
They're all absolute, crazy people. Oh, Jesus. Dear. So the other couple of films I watched, I was on a bit of Keanu Reeves hype.
Oof.
So I rewatched Point Break and I watched for the first time Speed, both of which incredible. So good, man. I'd never even heard of Speed. I'd never watched it. I didn't know anything about it, and it came up on like a, you may also like sort of thing, and thought,
sure.
yeah, this trailer looks insane. So I immediately watched it. But yeah, both of those films, Point Break, the one, the sort of buddy cop film where they go undercover. Well, Keanu goes undercover as a surfer to infiltrate this gang. Mm-hmm. Just amazing. It's got the same sort of like homoerotic vibe that Top Gun's got.
Yeah,
there's lots of like fighting with shirts off and like oiling surfboards,
oiled up,
and just that sort of stuff. Hair blowing in the wind and like loads of really cool looking dudes, but it's got that sort of homoerotic thing going on. But yeah, it's such a great film. It's directed by Catherine Bigelow. I'm going to edit this lady's name in because I've forgotten it, but I remember getting halfway through and thinking, oh, this is it. Like, I would put millions of pounds on the fact that this was directed by a bloke, just because it was so blokey. It's got all those things that we were talking about with the action films, right? Just gratuitous, like, naked women in it, guns, cars, explosions, smoking cigars in the police headquarters, all this super cool stuff. And then when I found out it was directed by a woman, I was like, oh, sweet, this is amazing. This is not, this isn't just a bloke thing. Like, she hit the nail on the head with this thing. It was really good.
For sure.
Yeah, shame on me. It's because I'd not heard her name before, so it's not stuck in my head. But I'll edit it in, basically. But it was really good.
Yeah.
And then Speed, again, is just nuts. Like cars, planes, buses, elevators, guns, explosions. just super cool ways of saving people that would never, ever work in real life.
Yeah.
But look insane on the big screen, and just, the soundtrack, everything. Amazing.
Yeah, Speed's a good one. The bit that cracks me up every time is, like when they don't believe him that there's a bomb on the bus, and there's a lady that's like adamant she's going to get off the bus.
Yeah, man.
But they've rigged up.
Does my head.
They're like, we know at least one person's going to try and get off the bus, so let's rig up the floor to drop out from underneath the right moment, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a good film. I haven't seen it in a long time, and Point Break I can barely remember. It's been so long since I've seen that. So I definitely need to get back on this Keanu train. Have you watched any of the new ones, like Wick?
No.
John Wick?
No.
Interesting. You check them out, mate.
Any good? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not sci-fi. It's not fantasy. You're all right. It's safe.
Cool. Safe to go in, is it? Yeah.
It's a really good. I'm trying to think of like a parallel to it, but it's like there's at no point is there any sort of real stakes that the protagonist isn't going to win,
right?
At all. They don't even pretend. He's like this badass killing machine, and all the baddies are scared of him the entire film. And it's just amazing, and he's just like mowing through this like army of bad guys.
Nice,
and they're like, there's about 5 scenes where they realise John Wick's after them, and they're like, you can see their face just drop, like there's nothing they can do. It's good, amazing. It's good stuff. Yeah, it's worth a watch for sure. Keanu's an interesting one, man, as an actor. Like his progression of choices and things that he does. He's an interesting guy in real life as well.
Is he? I don't know anything about him. Obviously, I know he was in Bill and Ted, and he's like, and then in Point Break, he's got that very sort of, yo, dude, that sort of like surfery voice as well. And then he's tried to shake that sort of voice off in Speed, and I don't think it's as good. His particular delivery of stuff, I'm like, he's clearly acting, whereas in Point Break, it seemed a bit more natural. So I think he should just stick with his like Californian surfer dude voice. And just play, just be like Arnold and just have the same accent in everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think he does. I think he kind of does do that now. He speaks really slowly in real life, and he does that now in like all his new films that I've seen. He's like got a really slow delivery of everything, and it's just doesn't really act as much.
Right.
He's just Keanu Reeves now, like in everything that I've seen him in.
Like Clint Eastwood.
At least in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like this is a good topic actually. It's like some actors and actresses just have a character that they're amazing at.
Yeah.
and I'm okay with them being the same person in every film they're in.
Yeah.
To a point, obviously, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah,
you know, you've got character actors and stuff, and it's like don't step out of your boundary. Just be what you're good at.
Yeah,
and I'll be happy. You'll be happy, and no one needs to say anything.
I'll keep going to see that film every time you put one out. Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Nice.
Don't just go to acting classes. Don't do anything. Don't change anything.
Yeah, you've got it.
But yeah.
Stick with that. Yeah. Oh, in fact, that just reminded me. Have you seen the film The Mule? Clint Eastwood's. I think it's his latest.
No, I haven't.
This is the one where he plays an old guy. I mean, he's an old guy, so I don't think he can play anyone other than an old guy, but he's really old now. And he plays a guy who he needs some money for some reason. And he realizes that he can make a lot of cash by couriering drugs across the border between Arizona or wherever it is into Mexico and back and forth, basically. Because he realizes that nobody's going to suspect this old sort of middle-class white guy, basically. And it's fantastic. It's a bit Gran Torino-esque. I'd say it's not quite as good as Gran Torino. If you're expecting that, it's not quite as good, but it is still definitely worth a watch. If you're a Clint Eastwood fan and you've got nothing to watch, pop it on. I think it's on Amazon. Yeah, well worth it. It's really good.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, I loved Gran Torino. Seen that film so many times. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Perfect example of this is actually might be a good thing to talk about later, but like an old person who's like prejudiced and kind of racist and like has a very old school way of looking at life, and it's not modern and it's not really how we would probably see the world.
Yeah.
But if you just get past that one layer of personality, he's actually a really good person.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
If you judge him on maybe one word he says or one sentence,
yeah,
nowadays he'd be cancelled or whatever,
Yeah.
But you can't boil people down to that one surface level, can you?
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
if they're super old.
Yeah,
you
can say what you want. It's not, it's not nice, but as you would see if you watch the film, some of the characters just ignore that, and they gradually teach him that what he's saying isn't quite right or whatever, and they. And everybody learns something because they have become friends, right?
Sure,
that's the problem. If his neighbours had just gone, I don't like this guy, he's said something racist, and never spoke to him, we wouldn't have a film, and it wouldn't be wonderful, like the film is. You'd know if you see the ending, but yeah, it's incredible. Such a good film,
for sure. Well, mate, I can't really compete with your film choices. You've picked some good ones. I have watched a couple. I won't really go into detail with them because none of them are particularly...
are they embarrassing?
One of them is a little bit. Have you ever seen the film What Women Want?
Is that Mel Gibson?
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
I think I've seen a clip of it. Is he like...
I've never seen it. I know the premise of it, but I've seen this new one, which is called What Men Want.
Ah, okay. And they've done the classic Hollywood thing of just flip it. Like, if it was a man, make it a woman. If it was a woman, make it a man. God, I hate those things. Just write a new film. Just write a new film.
So, see if you can guess who picked that film. And and then the next day we watched Underworld, which is Kate Beckinsale as like a vampire woman killing werewolves.
Nice. So, yeah, I know who picked that one.
Yeah, which is a really, really good fantasy film, but it's in modern day, so you can kind of forget that they're werewolves and vampires. They're still using guns and stuff.
Okay, cool.
It's really good, and Kate Beckinsale's a very good actress. Very good actress.
Very, very good. Okay,
very good. Very talented.
I look forward to watching her very, very good performance. Nice.
Oh, good.
So I mentioned a couple of weeks back about having made a list of old people names.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Names that only old folks have.
Okay.
Thing is, you'll listen to these now and you'll think, oh, God, I know someone who's named their kid that, because they're now sort of coming back, aren't they?
It's cool, yeah.
So I'll list the blokes first, and then we can have a laugh, and perhaps you can add some to the list. Right, here we go.
Yeah.
Barry,